everybody to Unstuck Worldwide Grief Café, to my very third episode. I am so excited for my third episode, and I'm excited for our guest today. As Mother's Day is approaching, we reflect a lot on what our mothers are to us, their strength, their value, how they've affected us in our lives. So in Grief Cafe, we just don't talk about people that have passed on and transitioned on. We want to give flowers to the people that are still living. And as kids, a lot of times we feel like our parents are going to just live forever and they're the strongest, invincible, nothing happens to them. But as we get a little older, we start to see that as we're aging, our parents are aging too. And so today's episode, we're going to talk about what that looks like, the transitions of our parents and our role in our parents' lives, and trying to find meaning and navigating the tough seasons with our parents together and finding meaning in it all. So today's episode is titled Dear Mama, Love Tim, honoring the life, love, and legacy of Bettye Bond with our special guest that I'll be introducing in a moment. So before we get started, what is Grief Cafe? Grief Cafe is a sacred space. It's a relaxed atmosphere where we share the life, love, legacy, the laughter of those that have transitioned on. It's a great conversation about grief and love over a cup of coffee, a tasty treat, a favorite drink. It's whatever you bring to the table. We come together to celebrate our loved ones, and we commune and we just celebrate love. At the heart of Grief Cafe, it's all about celebrating life of those who have transitioned and life that are those that are still living. And we also know that in Grief Cafe, grief is not exclusive just to death. It's about life. It's about loss. It's about change. It's about transition. It's about love and finding meaning and becoming in the midst of it all. I am Keyshawn Hill Adamson. I am a certified grief educator, coach, grief movement guide, grief and loss public speaker. I am the founder and CEO of Unstuck Worldwide LLC. I am also a new author of my first book, My Love Letters to the Grieving, You Are Not Alone. I am grateful to be here, and I'm grateful you're here with us. Before we get started, always want to share with our viewers that grief can bring up a lot of heightened emotions. And as we begin, I want our audience to be trauma informed. I am not a licensed medical professional, so this conversation is for encouragement and educational practices only. So if at any point you feel that your emotions are heightened, you're overwhelmed, you need to pause or step away, please do so and take care of yourself. If you're experiencing thoughts of self-harm, please call 911 or 988 for immediate support. You matter, your life matters, and your self-care matters to us. So now I get to introduce one of my favorite people, my very special guest. He is the founder and CEO of True Vine Publishing, a boutique hybrid publishing company dedicated to helping authors transform their books into platforms for impact, influence, and income. I like that. A speaker, podcast host, multi-book author, Timothy believes he is the channel to share the human experience through storytelling. He is passionate about empowering writers to turn their stories into meaningful work that creates influence, opportunity, and lasting legacy. On a personal note, he is my publisher. I'm claiming him. My first publisher, someone who pours into everybody. And he's an amazing person. His company is amazing. And I'm so blessed to have that God brought him into my life and into my family's life, because it's a family thing. He's also a brother with a great heart, and he's a husband, he's a father, he's a son. And today he will be sharing about his beloved mother, Bettye Bond, and honoring her life and legacy. So please help me to welcome our guest, Timothy Bond.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be on the show, and looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So on Grief Cafe, we bring a tasty treat, a favorite drink. So what are you bringing to the table today?
I'm a coffee head, so I got my coffee in my True Vine coffee mug.
That's the way to do it, True Vine. Awesome.
Yeah.
Representing. So I have mine, and this is my, this was a gift to me when I did a speaking engagement in Power Her Inc. And they gave this to me, so I was nice and replenished while I was speaking.
Yes,
So
nice.
yeah, I love it. It got all the bedazzles on it. But I have my smoothie. My husband made me a smoothie. I drink a smoothie every morning. I'm a little late with my smoothie this morning, but so it's like a lunch right at this point.
Okay.
In our last episode, we always talk about saying our loved one's name. Well, I say their name out loud because they live, they loved, they matter, and they still matter. Sometimes we're afraid to say our loved one's name because of the things that going through, sometimes how that affects our heart, and those that have transitions, sometimes we're afraid that we may upset the people that we're speaking of. But today we honor the life of people, and we want to say their names. So today, Tim, I just ask you, just introduce the world to your mom by saying her name.
Bettye Bond. Bettye Bond.
All right, Bettye Bond. Does she have a nickname?
When I'm being cheeky, I call her Betty Boo.
Oh, okay.
We used to go around and just get under her skin. We'll say, "Hey, Betty Boo."
Oh, man.
Mama, don't talk to me.
Listen, what a lot of people don't know about Betty Boop, she was black.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she was, yeah.
With the big head and she was black? Okay.
Yep. She initially, she was black. And so, and then later on, the translation of her, she ended up being Caucasian, but she started. Yeah, she started because my mom loves Betty Boop. And she has little Betty Boop pictures and dolls and things like that. And my mom educated me on that. So, yeah, she's a real person.
We started calling her that when there was a song that came out, Betty Boo. When Betty Boo gets through with you, then you'll be through.
All right. We got the whole song.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your mom.
My mom is the strongest woman I know. She took care of 3 men basically on her own. My father was there for the first 10 years of my life. And I say this because I think it holds weight in my mom's story. So my father and my mother built a thriving real estate company. So we were, pretty much making good money, right? Living pretty high. And then my father lost his business. And when he lost his business, he just couldn't make the adjustments. So he left. So he left a woman with 3 kids living at a certain level of income and being dropped down to not having nothing, right? And so for me, she maintained our quality of life by herself, working 3 jobs to make sure that we had everything we needed. We didn't lose our house. She did whatever it took to take care of us. And for me, that I didn't appreciate it until, I got older and realize what it really means to take care of kids and take care of a family, clothes for growing boys, shoes, food, water, electricity, bills, and not only to deal with our stupidity. One day we got in a car, got in one of our friends' cars without her knowing, and we didn't know how to drive stick shift. We turned the car on and it just takes off and drives through the yard and hits the neighbor's car, and my mom's
oh my God.
She had to pay them. You know what I'm saying? And we never saw the impact of all the stuff that she had to take care of. And she did it all on her own. Never spoke. Well, she would talk bad about my dad, but never she'd never be like, your dad ain't crap. But, anytime you bring him up, she would frown or something. But you know what I mean? She just took care of us. To the point, when I got married, my wife had to tell me, you think I'm like your mom. I need you to do stuff take out the trash and fix the house. I'm so used to, if you got something, my mom be out on the house with a ladder, climbing up on
That's my type of lady. Get that ladder out.
She should have been doing it, but yeah, I was so used to my mom, just whatever she needed. She didn't have a man to tell her to, hey, get the go grocery shopping or do this for me, do that for me. Everything was that she did, she took care of. And so when I first got married, I didn't understand these things of why do you need so much help, right? Because my mom did everything by herself. So it was a transition, and it took me realizing, mama wasn't supposed to be doing all this stuff. My dad was supposed to be carrying some of these things that she's doing. And I just, it took some growing up to realize, my wife didn't have to be as strong as my mother, but my mother was a strong woman.
Amen. I love
that. Is a strong woman.
Yes. See, that makes it, when you have a mama like that, makes it hard. Yeah. When you come in and you have that dynamic going on, and mom is, because I see that a lot, when mom is the superpower. And then you get married, and it's what do you mean?
Right.
Like what?
I mean, come look at your tire. You can take care of your tire. Take it to the tire shop. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're supposed to be doing that kind of stuff for me.
Yeah, my dad. So he trained me between my mom and him. My mom did the things with and my sister, my big sister, with the cooking and the things of the house. But my dad, he made sure he get me out that bed. He like, hey, come learn how to change this tire.
Really?
Yeah, and so your mother is a woman after my own heart, because when I got married, my husband was in school, he was working. When things need to get done in the house, he used to see with me with my drill, and I am making a whole closet shelf. And I'm making a whole new section in the closet.
Yeah.
I got my daughters. I'm like, here, pass me that wrench. I can't name the tools, but I'm like, that thing over there, I need that right there.
Thing. Give me that.
Yeah. But I am building bikes. I am jumping cars. I am changing tires. Now my husband does it too, but it's because I've been trained. So that right there, Miss Bond. Oh man, I love it. I love it. So outside of those superpower moments, what else makes her unique and how she shows up in the world?
So my mom, this is what I really respect about her. At the age of 50, she went back to pursue her education so that she could teach, which she always wanted to do. Right?
Oh, nice.
So when my father started the real estate business, she went into the real estate business with him. When that left, she was working all these jobs. And then one day she was working at Sprint, and she got upset with a customer and raised her voice or something, and they fired her. And she decided that she was going to stop the rat race and pursue what she had always wanted to do. So at the age of 50, she went back to school, finished her degree, and she started teaching from that point on. And she was a teacher until she finally retired.
Wow. That's a phenomenal, that's a lot. Going back to school at that age is a lot. It's a big transition.
Yeah. And she went on to get her master's, and she really started over at 50, So I really respected her for that. I'm really proud of her.
Wow. That's amazing. Are you a mama's boy?
Absolutely. I was the baby. Okay.
Okay.
And the fact that I say I was the baby lets you know I was babied, right?
Yeah.
So my mama, and I was a sickly baby. So this is what really endeared her. Not only was I the baby, but I had asthma. I came out with eczema. I was really skinny or small. And so, she always looked out for me. But one of the things that I hold on to, memories that I hold on to this day, is when I was a kid playing baseball. And a young man playing sports, your father should be the person that's kind of getting you strong, and you know what I mean. Like, that's something you would think your dad would be the one out there. And this is when my dad was home. But my dad was also absentee in the respect that he focused more on work. So even when he was in the home, he was never at our games or anything. The only time he was really there was church, because he's really religious. So, that was family time for him, as we church together. But outside of that, he wasn't there. And I just remember one day, Mom going out in the front yard with me and throwing the baseball.
Oh, wow.
Until the next day, her arm was so sore from throwing the baseball with me. And to me, and I say this to her even now, I bring that up because I think that was the representation of a mother who was there for her kids. Like, my mother was a passionate woman, and she could snap real quick as well. We had our share of extension cords and train track spankings. Whatever was around. One time I used to chase my brothers because I was the baby and I could never beat up my brothers. So one day I learned that if I chased them with a knife, they would run. They'd be afraid of me. So I started that habit, right? We fight, and then I'll go get the knife, and then they would run. And then one day my mom came home, so I hid the knife in it was a butcher knife now. I hid the knife in the drawer, and they was like, "Mama, they're putting a knife on us again." So she's like, "Show me the knife." I gave her the knife. My mama spanked me with a knife. I know how you spank a person with a butcher knife and not cut them, but she spanked me with a butcher knife.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, as sweet as she is, and she is the sweetest woman that you can meet, she also got that side you do not want to cross her.
Wow. Listen, she like, what is it, Shaka Khan, every woman?
Every woman.
Every woman. She's
Yeah.
all of the women in one. What
Yeah.
are some things that only your mom could do? Like nobody else could do it but your mom.
Only thing, well, I don't know. I mean,
Did she have a favorite dish? Did she have like, was there something?
She cooked. I loved her lasagna.
Okay.
You know, I loved her lasagna. Something that only she could do. My mama was a prayer warrior.
Amen.
Wow, it's so much. It's so like you have to really unpack. She's a prayer warrior.
Okay.
So it was not uncommon for us to be startled awake at like 3 a.m, where the Holy Spirit has touched her and she's screaming like, and everybody's saying, "What's happening?" But I can attest to the fact I should definitely be a statistic. Honestly, shoplifting. I was a horrible student. All the things that people do and substances that people take that take them down a different road. Like I've done all of it, and there's always been almost I can almost tangibly feel it. Something encircling me,
Yeah.
and keeping me from the path that I should be down, and my brother should be down. Right? I remember one time shoplifting, and I almost got busted, and I audibly heard the word strike 2, right? And because I played baseball,
Wow.
I don't want strike 3.
Yeah.
Shoplifting. My mom's prayers, I believe, are the reason my brothers and I are productive citizens, because we had everything that people say, well, I'm like this because of this or that. We had all of those reasons to be that, right? Worked so much that me and my brothers at the age of 14, I'd be out till 3 a.m. because my mom's at work, right? She's working 3 jobs.
Wow.
And me and my brothers, we're having house parties, we're out drinking till 2 a.m. as a minor. So it had to be her prayers that covered us and corrected us, because she had to be out working to take care of us to the point that she wasn't physically there. So I think that my mom as a prayer warrior is probably her superpower.
Wow. It was through, to your point, it was, moms have a way of just stabilizing everything. Mm-hmm. And when you have a praying mom, my mom, she taught me the value of prayer, and wasn't a very religious person, but one day when we had a lot of loss in our family, she said, you got to pray for your family. We got on our knees, and it was customary. It's those prayers, the power of a praying mother, that will sustain anything. And so in the midst of all that you guys had going on, it was her resilience and it was her prayer. I mean, the foundation that kept that everything together, because even for me, I got into all kind of shenanigans, growing up. But seriously, like, you can find yourself with the stuff that you could have done if God had not blocked it, dead, somewhere locked up, sick somewhere, just strung out, all kinds of stuff. So thank God for a praying mother. So what was she known for? So you said she was a praying mother. She had her 3 jobs. She went back to school. What else was she known for? Like, what do people usually would come to your mom for?
Advice. My mom took in every family member, much to my chagrin. There was a time we had, and this is when we had to downgrade our house, right? So when we were making money, we had a big house, two-story house, and room about one, I think like four or 5 rooms. So she would bring people in. Even when we had to downgrade, right, to a small house, she still took everybody in. We had aunts and uncles sleeping on the floors like we were like a commission or something. And yeah, she has been that person who when people need stability, when people needed shelter, she's the person that people went to, because she was the oldest firstborn of her family of 14 brothers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, not 14 brothers, but 14 siblings. There was actually a child born before her, but he passed away, a baby. So she was the firstborn to survive. I guess I'm saying that right. But yeah, so every family member of all 14 or 13 siblings have come and lived in my mom's house. Nieces and nephews, like, she just takes them in, and she just takes care of people no matter what. And that is it couldn't be me, but couldn't be me, but that's how my mom was.
Wow. So she had to have been a people person.
She was. She's a sweet woman. She's a sweet woman. Even now in the memory care, everybody's like, oh, she's so sweet. Because when people get dementia, tend to lean towards that side of them that you usually hide. That darkness comes out.
Yeah.
She's just sweet, kind-hearted, and yet, as like I said, but she's got that side as well. If you push her, she'll let you know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. I often tell my daughter about stories of my mom because my mom, she's like your mom. She's the sweetest ever. She is like, you would never know, but she was not one to play with. She be the one, if I'm doing, and I was into all kind of crazy stuff. And she come outside looking for me with the belt and in front of everybody. And I'm like, oh, looking, I'm up at the park. I'm trying to be cute in front of the guy, in front of a boy. And I'm playing. Here come my mama with the belt. Like, if that's not a thing. So yeah, so to your point, yeah, when this, it's a beautiful thing when you can see the strength, the sweetness, the toughness, all at the same, because it's a balance. It's a balance with our personalities. So you mentioned your mom with dementia. So one of the things that I noticed, like we talked about earlier, there's no memo that tells us like, hey, in your 30s and 40s, you need to prepare, as you're aging, because we're just thinking about ourselves getting older. Like, okay, we're getting older. We start thinking, oh, my bones is hurting. Like, oh, I can't do what I used to do. Or, age is settling on us. But we often forget that while we're aging, so are our parents. And so what does that look like? I never got a memo. When I hit my 40s, I never got a memo that was going to say, hey, you have to start thinking about them and caring for them, even if they're fully self-sufficient. What does that look like? Because if anything should happen, you have to prepare and make sure they're good. So I'm in my 40s and you're in your 40s. No one talks about the sandwich generation, where you're in the midst of raising kids, but also having to take on another role with your parents. And sometimes with that comes a lot of stress.
Trauma. Like,
yeah, and it's heavy on the heart. So sometimes it's just a lot of loss. And like we talk about in Grief Café, it's not just talking about the transition of a person. We go through 1,000 losses. And so as a grief educator, it's really important for me to be able to put names to things that we go through. So when did you notice that things were transitioning and changing for your mom?
My uncle was going through a divorce. Again, mama takes in everybody. So while he was transitioning to get his own place, he stayed with my mom. And he called and he was like, something's right, bro. Like, my mom has always been like, when my mom talks, I used to do this joke when mama would start talking. I'd do like this. And that was pulling down the, on the roller coaster where they pull the thing over you. That was when my mama starts talking, I do like this. Because that roller coaster's going all over the place. You're going to be all over the place. So my mama's always just kind of been, I won't say flighty, but when she talks, she's just all over the place. But my uncle was like, yo, something ain't right, man. Like, we really need to check on her memory. So this hit during the pandemic. So I said, okay, well, we were in quarantine. I was like, my uncle's like, somebody needs to be here with her. I was like, all right, I'll go work at her house. And that's when I started noticing, like, she would move furniture every day.
Okay.
All around the house. Just restructure a whole room every day. And when I wasn't going over there every day, it was nothing unusual because, remember, beginning of our conversation, he's always been the person who's on some kind of project. I started going and staying with her and seeing, man, she's like, this is compulsive. She would go out, move the car out of the sunlight. Every time the shade would move and the car was exposed to full sunlight, she'd go out and move the car. So this was her day, moving furniture and I'm like, what is going on? Like, her memory, of course, was getting bad. And come to find out, she was having days where she wake up and her blood sugar was dropped down to like 20. That's like, you about to go into a coma. And what we came to find out is that every time that happens, it's brain damage. My mother's dementia is not caused from, like, I guess, old age. It's caused from, like, her diabetic mismanagement. I don't know if it's mismanagement, but I guess she didn't eat right or do her medicine right. She would have all of these basically diabetic comas almost. Miraculously, she would never go into one, but her blood sugar would get that low. And every time that happened, her memory got worse and worse until it got to the point where all the family friends knew about, something's definitely wrong. And so she has a really good, strong support system and some of my aunts and family friends. And one of my aunts called me and she said, I've been trying to reach your mom and I can't get her on the phone. It was 10 o'clock at night. My initial inclination would be, so what? Honestly, didn't answer. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow. But some said, all right, go check on her, even if it's just to make them happy. Go to my mom's house, 10 o'clock at night. My mom is locked out of the house. She's got a gate, and she's got a knife, and she's trying to cut a metal gate open with a knife. And it hit me like, of course I freaked out. Like, you've been out here in the dark all this time. You didn't even think to go to the neighbor's house and call me? And that's when I was like, you're not processing stuff. Like, you're not processing logically. And I was really freaked out. I probably didn't handle this right. I was like, get your stuff. You come to live with me. Like, that night, she was on my couch, and that was it. Of course, my wife just had to deal with it, just out the blue. I didn't tell her, oh, I'm leaving. I think something's wrong with mama. I just said, hey, I'm going to check on mama.
Yeah.
And I'm back like, mama's living with us, And so, I probably didn't handle it right. But when I saw she was out in the dark, she would have been out there all night.
Yeah.
And she didn't think, let me just call Tim. He has a key. So I was like, that to me, you get to that moment where you have to admit this is not right. I cannot make any kind of extra excuses for it. I cannot make logic to kind of make it fit. This is not right. And that's when pretty much life changed for me for a good years.
One of the things that I've learned, one of the hardest things is just watching your parents age and especially go through some hard times, because they're our parents, and they're our parents and we love them. So we don't want to see them suffer, and to see them suffer or see them just in a place where it's like we're in bewilderment, the fear that, the everyday fear. And so, like I talked about, a lot of things that we go through have names. So some of the things, in talking to my husband and him helping with his parents, caretaking with his parents, we talked about the term anticipatory grief. And it's the grief that, it's the grief you feel before an actual death. Talked about that. We talked about the cumulative loss as we're watching our parents age, the loss of just a loss after loss after loss. It's like you can't even catch your breath with one change, and then the next change and the next change and the next loss happens. We talk a lot about disenfranchised grief. It's a grief that people judge. People don't understand when you're caring for parents what you actually go through. And a lot of times people can be insensitive, like, oh, well, at least they're still here. Not understanding, like, yeah, they're here, but they're different and they've changed. We talk a lot about secondary losses. It's all the losses as a result of the primary loss. We also talk about ambiguous grief. It's like there's no solution, no closure, no end in sight. And so with caregiving, it just seems like there's so many different losses that we go through. What has been the hardest part for you in this season that you're in with your mom?
The loss of my mother.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like my mother's a prisoner in her own mind, and that is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to look at someone, like when we talk about caring for a parent and this dementia thing, it's really two different worlds. Like, there's one thing if your parent, they got diabetes or they need help. It's a whole nother thing when your parent has become a toddler mentally. When your parent can't put together cohesive sentences. When your parent looks at you and says, who are you? That's completely different.
Yeah.
So even though you are looking at their body, you're not talking to your mother anymore. Your mother doesn't know you. Right? It's tough for me. I feel like I'm not handling it well even today, even though people tell me I'm doing great. I don't feel like I am, because I probably avoid as much as I possibly can. I avoid because my mom's in a state where, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't want to be somewhere where I have to wipe my mother or see my mother's body because she can't take care of herself.
Yeah.
And that to me is the toughest thing to get over, because it's just, I just, and people be like, well, you just got to do it. You got to take care of you. You love her, don't you? You love her, don't you? I just, you're talking about a mother who raised her kids, her sons, to respect women. Like my mother, when we walked to a door, she stopped. She made sure we knew you opened the door for a woman, right? Respect a woman. You respect me. So the idea of like, I'm gonna have to start like wiping my mom or something like that, I I can't process it. And then when I go see her, and like the last time I went to see her was the other day, I said, "You recognize me?" She's like, "No." That kind of stuff, even though you understand it, it's still tough to process. It's tough to process, and it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. And it's better now because it's like 100% gone. The logic, the ability, the memory is 100% gone. During that phase of dementia, when like you're questioning yourself, like, am I crazy? What's she talking about? That's the roughest. That's the roughest. And the biggest, most heartbreaking part for me that actually brought tears, and it hurts every time I think about it, is when I had to start taking my mom to a daycare. That broke my heart. Dropped my mom off like I'm dropping a kid off at school, and watch her walk into a building where she has to be watched, right? That was the worst. That was the worst for me. And that of all the stuff that happened, that's what really brought tears, is just watching her get to the point where she is now going back to childhood. And it's really, it'll tear you up inside.
Yeah. And I just want to acknowledge that, for the losses that you're going through in this process, sending you love and prayers, because it's a tremendous. I've never, and this is why we're having this conversation, because a lot of people don't know what this is like. Never having to walk through it. Some people, I do know some of friends of mine who are going through this. And it's one of the most heartbreaking things you can ever imagine if you've never walked in it. And just like you said, and that's why I brought up those grief terms, disenfranchised grief. It's grief that people judge. To say to you, oh yeah, well, you got to do it. But do you know how my heart feels? Like you're judging, like, oh, I should handle, oh, well, she's still alive, or oh, this and oh, that. I mean, you're talking about a woman who is full of strength, full of resiliency. She is a superpower. You look at her like a superpower, and then having to see the decline. There are no words for your heart to comprehend, for your mind to comprehend the change, for your psyche to comprehend that type of change. And to your point, a lot of times we think because we're not handling something well, or we're not dealing with it, that it's not a good thing. But what I've come to learn is that our nervous system can handle but so much, and it just can't. And so when we don't deal with something, sometimes it's just not avoidance, it's survival. It's our body's way of getting through the moment. And without your consent, when it's time for you to face head on, and you got to do that every day it's a reality for you. So it's our body, our mind's way of taking a break, because we're overloaded. And so just, to encourage you in that process, you're doing this exactly how you need to do it. And no one can tell you anything different. You're processing how God is putting it on your heart to process, even if, like you mentioned, your head in the sand. If that's what you need to do in that moment to survive what you're going through, then the head in the sand is it is. And that's what it has to be in order for you to keep going. So just want to acknowledge just that part. So a lot of people don't, like I said, a lot of people don't understand about this process. How do you take care of yourself while you're going through this?
You have to be intentional. You have to, because I'm actually watching it happen again in real time with my wife and her parents. When I moved my mom in my house, it didn't hit me till 6 months later that I had a 6-month gap where I was so entrenched in getting my mom stabilized. I personally, with the help of one person, remodeled her home so we could get it rented out, right? No help, this may sound bitter, but it's just the facts. No help from my siblings. I was at a book signing the other day, and the lady said, no matter what the situation, no matter how many siblings, this parent, taking care of a parent, it's always going to fall on one sibling. One of my brothers is out of town, and the other brother was just like, hey man, I can't do it. So I'm in a house pulling up carpets by myself, okay? Pulling up carpets, Keyshawn, refurbing the house, taking care of my mom, fighting with her to take her meds because she doesn't need meds. Because when you have dementia, you go in different time zones in your mind. You might be 18 one day, just out of school, healthy as an ox. So fighting with her to take her meds, finding out, oh, she's putting them in her mouth, and then she's sneaking in the bathroom, spitting them out, arguing with her. The stress of my mom being in the house, having an impact on my relationship with my family and my kids. That tension in the house is crazy. And so once what finally got me to say, okay, I have to put her somewhere. I wake up, my mom is asleep in my daughter's room. I'm like, Mom, what you doing? She turns over, her eyes busted. I'm like, what happened? I don't know. Blood is all over the walls. Like she's been like going through the house, just like, I guess, scaling the walls or something. And it just hit me like, it's not about my emotion anymore. It's not about trying to do right by Mom. This is about safety. A person cannot be a full-time caretaker. You have to sleep. And when you have somebody with dementia, that moment of sleep could be the difference between them hurting themselves or them roaming and getting lost in the streets, right? And so I had a client. It seems like God sends me clients. This is the same thing that happened with you. God sends me clients with books when I'm dealing with certain things. So when we started dealing with the dementia, I had a client who came, and the name of their book was Head Love Over Heart Love. And it was about how to deal with dementia in the moment that I needed it.
Yeah.
You come along, my nephew gets killed. You come with a book on grief, right? So I know God loves me, but man, that's real love. Like
That is. He's letting you know.
Yeah, but when it comes to taking care of yourself, we feel guilty when we take care of ourselves. We feel like, oh, you're being selfish. Like I said, oh, you're just putting your head in the sand. But I have watched caretakers, get more sick than the person they're caring for because of the stress that you're enduring trying to take care of them. And for 6 months, I was in a fog. And my wife told me, it was like maybe a year later, I was like, you know what? I think I missed 6 months of my life. She was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, you were completely consumed for that 6 months before we were able to get my mom in a place. She was like, you were completely consumed. And it was just so tough because my mom, when I took her to the place where she was going to be for assisted living, it was pretty far out, but it was the nicest place. I still think it's the nicest place in Nashville. And her first thing was like, I don't know why you bringing me this far out. You trying to get rid of me. That kind of stuff kills you, man.
Yeah.
It's the harder part, because it's like, I'm trying to do the best for you, And I understand, but you don't know, Mom, where you are. You think you're fine, right? The mind thinks I'm fine because everything the mind thinks, it thinks it's right?
Yeah.
So you're talking to people who are not there. I can't tell you there's nobody there. Clearly you see somebody that you're talking to. So when I'm putting you in a place for your safety, you think I'm doing something against you, and I'm really trying to protect you.
Yeah. What do you want people to know about supporting someone navigating dementia and this illness? What wisdom can you give them?
Again, I think to take care of them is about the safety. It's not about the traditional norms. I have an associate whose extended family, is kind of bashing them because of them, putting their mom in a facility. And it's like, people will always look on the outside looking in and be like, oh, you should do better. She did all of this for you. But if you can't take care of someone, you need to put them in a position where they can be taken care of. If you can't take care of yourself emotionally, you need to put yourself in a position where you are in an emotional, psychological position to handle this load, because it is a heavy load. It is a load that seems unreal. There's a period of time where it feels like this is not right. Like, what is happening? Because it's a total, like, you grew up, your mother raised you or your parent raised you. They set what is right, what is wrong. They set your foundation, and then you see all of that crumble before your eyes. And it's like, what am I looking at? And it almost takes the total destruction. Or maybe these are the phases of grief, like the acceptance part. For me, it became easier when it was like, oh yeah, she's completely out of here. Like, it became easier in that respect, because it's like, there's no more fighting I can do, right? Remember when David in the Bible was like stressed, and then once it was like, all right, I get it. Like, that's kind of like what dementia's like. You're going to fight it until you cannot deny it. You're going to fight it. I cannot I can't, even with me telling you this, you got to go through that process because it's just not going to look right. And so you have to be okay with that. Like, understand what I'm telling you is going to happen. Be okay with that. And then I guess the other thing I would say is to make it easy on yourself. Stop trying to make a person with dementia see logic. Like, they're not trying to be difficult. They're not there anymore, right? The logic is not there anymore. So I see so many people trying to argue with somebody. No, that ain't what you mean. No, that didn't happen. Stop it. You're not going to accomplish anything. They're going to forget this conversation in 15 minutes. Stressing yourself and even stressing them out, right? Over a conversation that they're not even going to remember it in the next 15 minutes. So just enjoy the time you have with them, love them, and understand, like, until there's a cure, if there's ever a cure, you just got to deal with it. And then one last thing, and then I'll stop.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Get your affairs in order. Just because you have a power of attorney doesn't mean people will honor that power of attorney. I had power of attorney for my mom. I went to the bank. My mom got a little confused on why she was there. So they was like, we can't do the power of attorney. You need to go to the doctor. So I had to go to the doctor to get the doctor to write a letter saying she needs a power of attorney. Took that back to the bank. Finally got the power of attorney. Tried to sell the house. It was like, I see you got a power of attorney, but we just don't feel comfortable doing it. So get your affairs in order while there's time. If you're in a place right now where you know mom or dad is starting to exhibit some memory issues, while they're still able to have a conversation and tell an official, yes, I want to do this, do it as quickly as possible, because when they lose that cognizance, nobody's going to give you that power of attorney. Get it done now, get it done as soon as possible so that you can take care of them when the time comes. Because you're going to have to take their debit cards, their checks. My mom's writing $300 checks to the church. Like, you're going to have to take all of that because they're not capable anymore of handling that responsibility.
What I come across a lot of times is people don't like talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't like talking about it. They don't like preparing, like even thinking about the wills and the healthcare proxies and the things with the banking, it's like crickets. It's crickets, pineapples, put your head in the sand. It doesn't exist. But the thing is, if you don't do it, how are you leaving? And that's really important. How are you leaving your family members who are having to be left to deal with the residue of all of that? These are things that, as we're in this sandwich generation, we're getting older. We can't just focus on raising our family. We have to think about the care for our parents. What if something should happen? God forbid, what if illness does happen? What does that look like? How will we navigate those things? Because life is life. And so it just happens. And
let me put this in there real quick. Get long-term care. My wife and I have just applied. Do it now for yourself. Do it for your parents, because I'm telling you, these facilities, they want all your money. What I'm realizing right now, Keyshawn, is that from 20 to retirement, we work and we gain. And then if you're not properly prepared, everything that you work for is going back to the government through Medicaid, and they're going to take your house and they're going to take all your assets and they're going to pay for your Medicaid for long-term care, and all your wealth is gone because we didn't properly prepare with the proper insurance to handle these things when it happens. Because again, we don't get a memo. Oh yeah, you got 15 years and then your mom's going to forget everything and she's not going to be able to take care of herself, and it's going to be about $5,000 to $6,000 a month for her to stay in this home. That's not including insurance for health issues and food and all that stuff. So take care of that, okay? Nobody
says it. Nobody says it.
They'll tell you that in the small print. Hey, you should think about healthcare. You should think about long-term care. All right, we'll leave you alone about that. Somebody needs to be forcing that down our throats because people are losing all of their inheritance. I know of a family, $9,000 a month for nursing home. $9,000 a month. Most people don't make that when they were working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For those of you who are watching this and you have older parents, I'm going to say this boldly. I believe whatever we're eating and all that stuff, I believe that dementia is becoming almost a standard elderly disease. You see more and more people having it. The possibility that you could deal with dementia and nursing homes. It's real, and you should prepare for it, not as a what if, but as when it happens, so that you're not trying to come up with, like me, I have to pay out about $2,000 per month to take care of the things that my mom's Social Security and retirement can't take care of, right? And that's a blessing. I'll say I'm blessed that I can do that. There are people who they didn't have Social Security or they didn't have retirement, and I understand that. But if you do, get your affairs in order. Future is coming, and it's coming quick.
It is.
Mom got dementia. She was 60, I believe she was 68 when we started. No, she was 2020, 53. So she was, what was that, 67? She was 67. That's very young to have dementia. It was 67 when we started noticing it. When you start noticing it, there was years before you got to that point. So my mom probably started having dementia-like issues in her 50s. I'm 48, you know what I mean? So we all need to be preparing for the possibility of long-term care now, because this world don't care about how sweet you were. They don't care. They want that money. And if you can't provide it, you can walk the streets with dementia. For all they care, they do not care. There's an order.
You mentioned long-term care. A lot of people don't even know what that is. What is that? How do you even think about moving forward with trying to get it for yourself or someone else? If you can walk us through that.
The interesting thing is long-term care, if I'm understanding it correctly, the policy that me and my wife are looking at, it basically, I think the primary tool for it is for people who are on their way out, transitioning, and need to go to a facility, a nursing home, to carry them through those last few years. Because the policy we're looking at is offering $6,000 per month for 4 years.
Is this like insurance or? Okay.
They will pay the bills of they will pay the rent for your nursing home or hospice or whatever you're going to be in, right? They're going to give you $6,000 a month. If I'm understanding correctly from my conversation with my insurance rep, you get up to $6,000 a month. So if you don't need the full $6,000, then your 4 years could be extended. It's $6,000 or $400 some odd $1,000, right? So, but basically long-term care is making sure you have the money to pay for nursing homes and a nursing home when you need a nursing home, instead of having to pay out of pocket $6,000 or more every month to live in those homes.
Go ahead.
The earlier you get it, the better.
So you don't necessarily have to be sick or do you?
You could be, let's say you're a young man and had a car accident and now you can't take care of yourself. I think that would qualify you for needing like a nursing home.
Yeah. It's really, really, really at this stage of the game. Like, this is the part where you do have to get your head out the sand and start to think about planning, whether it's your will, whether it's assigning a healthcare proxy, whether it's, all of the different documents that you need, an emergency thing. So when you get sick, you have that hanging somewhere in the house when people come in. Those are really important. I just went to partnered with a funeral home, and the title was Getting Your House in Order. And they talked about all of those different necessities as we're aging, not just for our parents, but just for us. Because we can't live in a glass bubble as if things are not going to happen. Things are going to happen. And so you want to get your insurance policies in order. You want to get your medical information in order. The banking, like you talked about, the banking things, making sure that you are a second person on the banking, and all the different aspects of the things that we handle in our life. We have to start transitioning with our parents too, and making sure things are done. One of the things, again, we talk about grief is beyond the grave. Grief is, you named so many different types of losses. And it's really important while we're going through those things that, again, we take care of ourselves, to your point. Making sure that if we need to speak to someone, a therapist, a coach, someone that can help us to navigate our emotions, because, you mentioned the stages of grief. You have the denial, the disbelief, the anger, the bargaining, trying to fix and grapple with the reality, but the reality is the reality. The depression and the coming to the place of acceptance, being able to accept this is what it is. We also talked about the secondary losses. It's the 1,000 losses as a result of the dementia, about losing identity, things changing, you taking on the role of like the parent and they're the child. So want to just encourage our listeners to honor your grief. Honor your grief. Honor where you are in your life. Honor the different type of losses you're experiencing, because as we honor them, we learn to process them. And that's how we take care of ourselves. That sometimes putting your head in the sand is not avoidance, it's survival in this moment. So just want to encourage anybody that's out there. We are our own expert in grief. No one can tell us how to grieve. When it's time, the grief will show, and we'll deal with it accordingly during that time. So Tim, what makes you smile in the midst of everything going on? What makes you smile in this season?
My mom.
Yeah, with your mom in general. Yeah.
The glimpses of her personality still being there. So this is how I know when my mom will recognize me. I'll go, she'll look at me, she'll say, "Who are you?" Anytime you turn music on for my mom, she starts dancing. And this is the funniest part. She may not remember my name, but I'll say, "Daddy said he gonna come live with you." "No, he ain't." It does not matter what daddy's name gets the same response. She turns her nose up, she rolls her eyes. She may not even know who I am talking to her, but the moment I say your dad, that my daddy said hi, or boy, she turns her nose up. So that. But here's the funny thing: they are the couple that can't live with each other, can't live without each other. Like, so I know that she loves him. She never remarried after he left. So like, he was the only man for her, but she can't stand him. And to this day, even though she can't remember nothing else, she knows she can't stand that man.
And you know, from my understanding, you know, even though they change, the core of them never changes. So when you put that music on, that thing that the spirit in her remembers, even if she doesn't remember,
she'll sing along.
Yeah.
She don't remember her name, but she knows the lyrics to these songs.
Yeah, and that's beautiful to extract those moments in the midst. It's the balance of the finding meaning and being able to hold the grief, and being able to accept the pain, being able to embrace the anger, and all the different varieties and different ways we encounter grief, to be able to hold space for both of them, and then the glimmers of the finding meaning in all of that. So what are you grateful for today in general?
I'm grateful for everything. Honestly, I have come to understand that the path we walk is the path. It's the path, and all things work together for the good. Do I want my mom living as a prisoner in her own mind? But that's her path. And I'm here to serve where I serve her. And so I'm grateful that what I thought would be impossible. There was a time, Keyshawn, I was wondering, will I ever be able to make like $3,000 a month from my business? Now I'm able to take care of my mom and pay an additional $2,000 a month to be there to take care of her, right? So even though, like, no, I don't want to see her in this position, I'm so blessed to be able to make sure she's in a safe place. She's got everything she needs, and we're not like trying to figure out like how we're going to pay for this, you know? So God has us in all situations, and you have to be grateful. If you're going to be grateful for the good, you got to be grateful for the not so good, even though I'm coming to believe there's no such thing as good or bad. Everything is neutral. How you perceive it is what makes it good or bad. You know, torture ourselves with oh, this is not good. So I'm grateful for all things. I'm grateful.
I thank you for sharing your mom with us. She is a woman after my own life that just stabilize you. Like, God is our stabilizer, but for you and your family, you know, God gave you your mom, and like the attributes of God to stabilize things. Like when the world is scary and the world is crazy and all the things going around, that strong tower of a woman, the resiliency that she carried, the multifaceted characteristics she had with being able to play ball with you, being able to, you know, help other people, to extend the heart of God to others, whereas that's hard, like you said. And being able to just go back to school. Your mom seems like just a pillar of strength and just a warrior. Being that prayer warrior, God definitely had his hand and has his hand on her. And so I just really thank you for sharing her with me, with the world. So we're going to do something called Dear Mama, and you're going to look into the camera and you're going to share what you want your mom to know. So you're going to start off with Dear Mama, share your heart, and love Tim. If you can start that for me, please.
Dear Mama, Bettye Bond. Mama, I thank you for being the strength, the guidance, the love, the discipline, all that we needed from a mother. You played the role of mother and father while embracing who we were as men and really setting us up for success through your prayers. And I know that this time of life is definitely weird, but you have made your legacy known, and I take great pride in knowing that I have lived up to all of the bragging and affirmations that you said about how great I am and how amazing I am. I hope that I live up to your expectations.
Amen. Love Tim.
Love Tim.
Love Tim. All right. Well, thank you so much. So before we leave, we just like to close out and just kind of meditate on what we just did, kind of take a couple of deep breaths. So I invite you to just, if you would like to close your eyes, and just we'll do some deep breathing just to settle ourselves as we are closing out right now. So we're going to be grounded. We're going to take a few breaths in and out, and then hold, and then we'll release. So starting now. So inhale and you hold through your nose, and then exhale slowly out through your mouth. We'll do that again. We'll inhale slowly through our nose, and we'll exhale slowly out. What I'm grateful for today is the opportunity for you to share your heart about your mom, for you to share your mom with me. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for safety. I'm grateful for family, that our circles have not been broken, and that in the midst of the storm, Jesus can hold it all together. The boat will never capsize because he's in it. So, Tim, is there anything else you'd like to share with the people before you leave?
Grateful for all things.
Be grateful for all things. Well, amen. Amen. So again, thank you, Tim, for joining us on Grief Café. If any of you are out there, you are grieving, begin your healing journey today with my debut book, My Love Letters to the Grieving. You are not alone. You can find us on unstuckworldwide.com, on all social media platforms, unstuck_worldwide. You can find Tim on all social media platforms at Timothy Bond, True Vine Publishing, Tim the publisher and the legacy author, right? Okay. On all social media platforms. If any of you have a book inside of you, this is the man, True Vine Publishing. I highly recommend him and everything that he's doing. Again, Tim, thank you so much for sharing your mom with the world, and thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. God bless you, and take care. Bye-bye. If you're in grief or know someone who is, here is a gentle resource for you to begin your healing journey today with My Love Letters to the Grieving. You are not alone. To learn more, visit www.unstuckworldwide.com.